Hey, Seminole State family, Reddit or not? When should you use Reddit? How, when, and why? We'll talk about it, the situations. You know, us librarians are going to have something to say about anything that has to do with addressing an information need. Let's go. I got the video here somewhere. What is Research Rally?
Learn with librarians. Get campus info. Connect with your Seminole State family.
Every Wednesday at 4 p.m. at Seminole State Live on YouTube.
Hello. Hey out there, Seminole State family. It's Wednesday. We've got twinsies here today. We've got Library Ross Martin and Jeff Nelson from the Raider Center here joining us today on Wednesday, 4 p.m. It's Research Rally, the Seminole State College of Florida Library, hosting every week at 4 different informational topics, including special guests from around campus, as evidenced today with Jeff. And today we're talking about Reddit. Reddit or not? How to use Reddit, what to use Reddit for. Just once again, we're librarians, so by trade, me and myself and Ross are. So by trade, we're always looking at it through a lens of, are we correctly and responsibly and adequately addressing an information need in the proper way? So that's what we're talking about today. I don't use Reddit, so I'm going to get an education, right? Y'all use Reddit, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
my favorite social media.
Okay, and that's why we asked you here today. We've got TRWKH. If there's another way to pronounce it, go ahead and phonetically put it in the comments. Welcome. So yes. So if while you're watching today, feel free to let us know. We're going to do some shout outs and also ask you for your input. If you use Reddit, just like this is Jeff evidence. Yes. If you use Reddit, let us know and we'll talk about it. Okay. So once again, I don't know about Reddit. I know a little bit. So Ross, can you give us kind of a 30,000 foot view, lay of the land, like what is Reddit, like kind of the general context of it?
I mean, I always describe Reddit as kind of like the most social of all social medias. Like it's an entire platform that is crowdsourced, right? Like all of the content that shows up there comes from users submitting it. And it's organized into different communities, so you can really granularly, I think that's the word, you can kind of create your own experience. And that's what I love about it. I mean, you'll see Reddit, every once in a while I'll get a bad rap in the media or something. But really the advantage of it is that you can build your own experience out of it. So that's what I like about it.
All right. What about you, Jeff? Like, what's your kind of, again, 30,000 foot view of Reddit?
Yeah. So as to not repeat all the great stuff Ross said, worth noting for people that have never used it, the way Reddit sort of works is, they call themselves the front page of the internet. So users submit links to things like world news or funny images or interesting images or not interesting images, which is another subreddit category. And then users upvote or downvote. So the front page is a distillation of the things that everybody likes. And then if you're in a very niche community, you can see just what's happening in that by going to that particular subreddit.
Okay. Now, Ross, you told me earlier that, unlike other social media platforms, you said you described to me Reddit is the most purest of social media platforms by definition. Can you explain that?
Well, yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. Like it is entirely social. It reminds me of the reason I got into Reddit years and years and years ago is because I used to use RSS feeds back in the day. They were how you kept up with news, and you could hook all these RSS feeds up to Google Reader, which when that went away, it was heartbreaking. But Reddit kind of solved that same problem where people are submitting the links now. And they're pulling all these news stories from all over the internet. And it's how I stay up with news. I mean, I don't have, I don't sit around and watch news very often on TV, but I'm always scrolling through news stories. And it might be about local news stories. It might be law news stories because I'm kind of interested in how lawyers think, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
But that's what I really value about it, is that
it doesn't pick stuff for you. Like you control like where you go. Like if I'm on, like I casually use Instagram. I don't post on Instagram, but I, scroll through reels and memes. I mean, it's like, very funny, right? Gotta share them. But like Instagram's like, if I like something, it's picking more stuff for me. Like it's trying to like put stuff in front of me it thinks I want, but like Reddit doesn't really do that. You decide where you want to go.
To a degree, it will also recommend things to you as you scroll through there. I mean, we could look at this later. And
okay.
But for the most part, you're self-selecting into the subreddits, the communities that you're interested in. Like Jeff said, you can look at the all sorting on there, and that's pretty interesting. That's how I find a lot of new subreddits, actually. I go, oh, I didn't know that existed. That's kind of neat. But yeah, like you get to choose your own adventure.
Okay.
With Reddit.
And as we're going to see, because we're going to pull it up and talk through some different threads or like show some different stuff, but like it can be like serious information or like fun information, just like all the different reasons that we do go to social media or go to the internet in general. Okay. And again, going back to stressing the idea of depending on the information need, you have to use a source appropriately. Like Reddit can be a source of information, but like it may be not maybe you are, or maybe you aren't using it as a reference in a paper for school. We'll talk about a couple different scenarios that might be the case, but we're going to like make the distinctions. Okay. So first off, as someone who doesn't use Reddit, and by the way, I asked everybody, is anyone else watching use Reddit? Cameron does. TRWKH has never used Reddit. Okay. And then Cruz was like, how do you feel about X? So we can talk about that. Okay. Conspiracy theory. I'm like, all I know about Reddit is it's like people have the anonymity, anonymous. And I'm like, hold up. Librarians we're always talking about who told you this, who's responsible for the information. Look at who authored the website. This is something we coach people all the time. So like, I'm like, well, I'm not going to go to Reddit because no one can tell me who they are. So how can I even test the information? How can I, because if we don't want someone to know who we are, telling them something, that's sus. S-U-S, not S-U-S-S, like in my Sussberger video. Anyway, so set me straight, guys. Like, why shouldn't I worry so much about that? Why shouldn't I be a conspiracy theorist in that way?
Well, I mean, like when you're asking about using it as a source, you're right. It kind of has that Wikipedia problem. Like, we don't know anything about anybody who's posting on here. There are communities, or these subreddits, that are more professional than others. Like I mentioned it earlier. I'm really interested in reading the law subreddit because it was designed as a forum for lawyers to talk about these events, news stories, cases that are coming up. And I'm not a lawyer, and I never will be, but I really like seeing how people think through a problem on there. And one of the distinctions is like when you're posting in there, you don't have to be a lawyer, but what they ask you to do is identify that, like, hey, I'm not a lawyer when I post in there, so that you can differentiate very quickly, like, oh, those are the lawyers talking things, and this is just somebody like pontificating about it. And it's helpful when I'm sorting through information. I can go, oh, okay, well, they're just kind of guessing here. Whereas these people, they're citing their evidence, and they've got, cases that I could keep going on that, but like, there are ways you can sort out, the credible people from just me on Reddit. You know what I mean?
Okay, but you have to put in the work, just like we do for sources for
absolutely
our schoolwork.
Yeah. I mean, it all boils down to basic information literacy and being wary of what you read on the internet always, right? You call it conspiracy theory, Nicole, but really, like anything someone tells you, don't believe it until you can verify it. And like Ross had mentioned, the subreddits that have the verification systems, you can get higher quality information. Ask scientists being one, ask historians. People usually have user flares that are verified by the moderators that say what their degree is and what they studied or what their research was in their PhD and those sorts of things.
Okay.
So people can't just give unsolicited answers to questions that are incorrect.
Okay. And so both of you as Reddit users use it for like kind of professional information from experts. And then you also read stuff from people that you can't even verify their identity. They're just saying maybe something about their experiences or like exchanging funny jokes or like pictures. Ryan, who's watching, they use it for sports and movie news.
Me too.
Sure.
Okay.
And I have,
Some different
subreddits for all my specific teams too. Like I'm in the Miami Dolphins subreddit, the NFL subreddit, fantasy football subreddit for all those.
Okay.
Marvel Studios for Marvel news back when I cared.
Okay, so it sounds like there's something for everyone there. All right, Ross, we want to add. I'm going to add your screen share to the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is just a pretty typical, Reddit screen on here. And what you're seeing is there's different ways you can sort your postings too, which is kind of interesting. Like best is kind of like the ones that have, I guess, the most upvotes and whatnot of the day. And then you can sort by the top, or maybe the top is the one with the most upvotes. And then I don't actually know what the difference between best and hot and top is. A lot of times they're very similar results there. But if you sort by new, that's kind of dangerous. But that's literally the newest things posted to your subreddits that you're interested in there. I usually just leave it at best when I'm kind of combing through there.
Ross,
mm-hmm.
I thought you're on the ButcherBox Reddit.
I'm not, but if you look at this one, it's promoted to me. See,
Ross,
like there is advert
to me because I know that you wouldn't be a customer of ButcherBox.
That's correct. Like, I mean, I am not a meat person, but like it does have ads in here. That's why Reddit is free to the user, because somebody's paying for this access and they're doing it through ads. They try to get it kind of close to what you might be interested in, but yeah, that didn't work there. You can kind of see here, like I have like a local Orlando subreddit that I follow.
Me too.
For lots of different reasons there. And I really like the stupid questions subreddit. There's no stupid questions and then there's stupid questions. There's not really a whole lot of difference.
There's movie details and then there's shitty movie details.
Like there's so many things that you can do with this. Like everybody, and all these subreddits, they're also created by you and me. Like we can make our own communities if we want to. Like at one point in time, I think there was a Seminole Community College community on here, but I think that's long dormant.
Okay. So like I see the opportunity, like if I subscribe to the local Orlando subreddit, there's authority in that information in the sense that like if I look at national news about something that's going on in Orlando, or even like the local news station, they might not get down until the nitty gritty granular, like boots on the ground details that like thousands probably people across Orlando could tell me from firsthand experience of witnessing an event. Or like, what was that example that was on your feed just now? Like, there's like a bunch of cops. There's a huge speed trap on this spot. I mean, the local news is probably not going to tell me that. So Reddit looks like an interesting way to address information needs. It's like the guy on the news that's like official and getting paid the salary and has like the button up collared shirt, which Ross changed into. He had a t-shirt on earlier over it for Lunchberry. And then now we see formal Ross.
Oh, busted.
And okay. So I'm just to illustrate the point. Authority is contextual. Depending on the context of the information need, the authority of the information can change. So it doesn't always have to be the PhD person that has the information I need. If I am driving across Orlando and I'm going to know about speed traps, I'll go to my Reddit thread on like Orlando speed traps. There's probably an Orlando speed traps Reddit subreddit. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. But the point being,
if not, you can make one.
Okay.
That's it.
Then we all got to go out and hang out on I-4. We don't have time for that right now. But somebody does. There's thousands of people in this city that will. So once again, recognizing that. But then if I'm doing a paper on like law enforcement practices for preventing traffic fatalities, I guess maybe I could go to that subreddit and say, well, this is like the conversation that's going on about what law enforcement is doing in the Orlando area to prevent traffic fatalities. Now, do I get hard empirical data from this subreddit on Orlando speed traps? No. But I can use it to say, hey, people are talking about this. So did I articulate
I think
that?
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pointing it out because a lot of times I know students, and let me know if you're watching, if you've ever heard a professor or maybe even a librarian or somebody tell you, oh, never go to Wikipedia, never go to, what are some of the other ones that get the never stamp? Wikipedia is a big one. I don't know if, but yeah, like never go here. Well, we would, as a librarian, I would say, don't never go anywhere. Access information anywhere you can, but think critically, and of course, sift it.
Sift it.
Ross,
Yeah.
Took it right out of my mouth.
Remind us what sift stands for.
Well, basically, it's the process that you go through whenever you're reviewing information and choosing sources, right? You're going to investigate them, and you're going to, try to trace back the information to the original claims, that kind of stuff there. But it really is just, it's designed to help us make informed choices with our sources.
Okay. So going back to your feed here.
Now, something really quickly I wanted to point out is this is a good example of this. This isn't just like the wild west of the internet. When you look at this, you'll see that there's moderators here. There's people who check these subreddits. They're voluntary for the most part, and you can see they've set some ground rules here. So in this subreddit, nobody is supposed to spam things. If people are that stuff will get removed from here too. They say no donation sites. They don't want people soliciting donations on here. So there is a little bit of, editorial control here, a little bit. And I think that's kind of what separates it from something like X and Twitter. Like, this actually is an organized community, and people are paying attention to the information that goes on here.
Okay. So I see there was a thing that no conspiracy theories. I wonder how they.
Well, yeah.
Does the checks and balances on that.
Indeed. One moderator's conspiracy theory could be somebody else's fact.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, going back to sifting, stopping, investigating, really thinking critically about it boils down to questioning everything, right? Not assuming that something is true. Even when we coach students to look in the databases or find reputable web pages, we're like, look at who wrote the web page, and look, you still are questioning everything. You're still sussing everyone out. Oh, we got a question here. How do you guys feel? Cruz is asking, how do you guys feel on the short squeeze scandal that happened between Reddit and GameStop situation in 2021?
Sure.
All right.
So for anyone who doesn't know, that's the Dumb Money, the film that just came out. So yeah, the short squeeze. So there's a subreddit, Wall Street Bets. People playing the stock market as a group. A lot of crypto investment came out of there. And then they were the group that saw the Wall Street shorting of GameStop coming up and turned that into a lot of money. Diamond hands, Lamborghinis on the moon. That was kind of their memes of choice. So that's sort of the background of it. Feelings wise, I mean, more power to them. It kind of shows the power of a community to find advantages of situations. From my own personal experiences, I wasn't a Wall Street Bets user, but I had already owned stock in AMC. That was also a part of that because my wife and I go to the AMC in Altamont. So we're like, why wouldn't we own shares of AMC? We love AMC. And then Robinhood froze my account because I had already owned the shares and tried to sell them. So I deleted my Robinhood account.
Oh man, Ross, didn't that
brokerage?
You had some experience with that, right?
I mean, yeah, I was following that pretty closely when it happened, and I thought it was kind of amazing that they were able to do it. But I mean, it was something that took place over a lot longer of a timeline than it seemed. Though it seemed like it all happened in a day, but like they had been watching that stuff for years, even to get to that point. But like Jeff said, it really does kind of show how organized people get on this, on these subreddits. Like they really treat it seriously. And I mean, I don't know that I have any feelings one way or another about how it all transpired, but I thought it was a really interesting thing to watch in real time.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, I think it's a great question, Cruz.
Yeah. All right. And if anybody is curious if there's like a subreddit you want us to search right now to see if it's like exists, let us know in the comments. Because I know some of us haven't used a subreddit or haven't used Reddit before. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, I just pulled up like the Ask Science one that Jeff mentioned it earlier. And what I really like about this too is, I mean, I'm the kind of guy, I ask a lot of questions, right? Like, and I love seeing, what I'll even do sometimes is I'll just search on Google, and then if you put the word Reddit after it, somebody has asked that question before. And you can almost always find an answer to that question. You might even find dozens of answers to that question there. But like, what I love is that when you go through this, if somebody asks this question about deep space and more modern instruments in here, as you look through these comments, you will start to see like, oh, the better answers get pushed to the top because people are voting on them. People will upvote the better answers so that they get put higher in the rankings. So you can really quickly get a good answer on here. Now, I don't know anything about Electric Ion Land, but they seem to know something. I mean, that you can see their tag there. This is their expertise that they're claiming, is that they know about stuff I don't even know what it is. I don't know what an ion thruster is.
A Hall effect ion thruster, yeah.
But, I'm guessing that if they're answering this question and it got a lot of upvotes from the community, they probably have some insight into this topic. Now, I wouldn't cite this as a source in my paper, but a lot of times it goes, oh, well, that's where I can start. Same way I use Wikipedia a lot of times.
Sure. And then go somewhere else, find it. Like that's part of the SIFT method is find it, find it somewhere else. Like find that piece of information elsewhere and even more places than one other place. And that kind of starts to corroborate or support the fact that that is verifiable information. What I like about Reddit that I'm learning about fresh and new today, besides my little conspiracy theories based on limited knowledge that I had before, is that it opens up like conversations for everybody to get involved. So like it's it's like making it egalitarian or like again, like you can have conversations with experts. You can enter conversations with other people that want to know about some random thing, or maybe it's something that's like commonly asked about or wondered about or sought out. Like it really opens up conversations, which is something that like before social media, before platforms like Reddit or the internet, we couldn't really do that. Yeah. People were more siloed, right? It just opens up the landscape for people to communicate with one another about all manner of things. So I like that. And that does open up, okay, we need to be more like suss out stuff probably even more, but that's fine because we should always be doing that anyway.
Yeah.
I have a question. So what I would like go to Reddit for, and I'm gonna ask you to search for this, Ross. And
okay.
I see we've been talking a lot lately about anecdata. So that question you asked for before, there was experts talking about some rocket thing that you don't know about, but like they seem to be an expert based on it was upvoted XYZ. So that's like scientific facts. But anecdata, like personal experiences with something, again, authority is contextual. If someone's anecdote about their personal experience, it could inform me. Again, I'm going to find information in more than one place to back up, okay, is that something I want to try or something I'm interested in? I have a question. So I had 2 dogs recently. One of them passed, and my dog that I still have, she like, I'm curious about different ways that people like what they do with their dog, like how they help their dog cope. But I want to know like, kind of like, I mean, I don't want to get another animal. That's a budget line item I'm not prepared to have right now. But is there other creative ways? Like what have people done to like help their dogs like adjust after they lose their pet buddy. I don't even know how to phrase that. So I'm a librarian asking for keyword search.
So,
Okay.
I just searched for a couple keywords out of that. Dogs and grieving on there. And you can sort by posts or by people or communities. I could look at it, like, is there something in here? Well, there's a bunch of dogs and that kind of stuff. Yeah, like, I saw the pet loss one. That might be a great place to ask a question about that. Like, hey, like, there you go. Somebody just 6 hours ago said, how do you cope with this? And I think they're probably talking about themselves.
Okay. But I'm more curious about my dog. Like, how do I help my dog?
So I think I saw it, Ross. If you go back to posts, the second post down, how can I help a grieving dog?
Perfect. Yeah. So that was on the dogs
subreddit.
Okay.
And then you can see it has 422 upvotes. Usually on here, it'll say what percentage of.
Oh, and for my 3-year-old, any tips help me? She keeps on. Okay. All right.
And then if you go down here, you'll see like a lot of this is really just the community responding to it.
Okay.
Suggesting things, posting their experiences. And if you're just looking to crowdsource information, it's great. It's the same thing I used to read on news stories. I'd read all the comments and everything. Like Reddit does all of that.
Google. You used to use something else before Reddit?
I loved Google Reader. That was my thing back in the day. I was so sad when it went away. But this kind of replaced it for me.
So I'm not seeing any like veterinarians saying, I'm a veterinarian and you're doing this wrong.
Sure.
It's just like people with their personal experiences testifying to like what worked for them or what didn't work. Okay. I like it. The anecdata. Yeah. And I don't see anybody, like you said, there's ads on Reddit because Reddit is free to use. There has to be some kind of stream of income to support. Obviously, like they got to build code and they have to have moderators and they have to have people, actually literally working to keep the infrastructure behind this social media platform. So we see ads on here. But when I'm in that thread, was that a subreddit? Is that the terminology?
It was a post within a subreddit. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see any ads in there. Like nobody's trying to sell me something, which is something to look for. If you're accessing information and someone is trying to sell you something directly related to, hey, you know what you should really do with your grieving dog? You should buy this special bed that has a lavender odor in it and it relaxes them. Okay, well, like they're trying to sell me something, so they have a bias or they have like maybe an agenda. So I would be wary. Well, I would say wary. I would pay attention to that and know that might factor into their advice or information that they're giving me. But I didn't really see that in that post. So that kind of helps me sort out that I would want to access.
And if someone did, it would probably get downloaded.
Right.
Like if someone's blatantly trying to sell something, it just goes to the bottom.
Okay, Jeff, what's your, like one of your favorite Reddits? Like, let's go ahead. We'll get away.
Yeah.
I'll take care of this later.
My favorite that I like to read in bed is Hobby Drama.
Oh, that's a good one.
Hobby Drama is very well written, historical write-ups of niche dramas within communities. So,
I learned so much from it.
Neopets.
I don't even know what Neopets is, but
little thing. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a browser game in 1999. Like,
but there's like one about a cheesemonger who got threatened by Italian cheesemakers. Something about the post from 343 released Halo 4.
Yeah. Gosh, what do we got? A lot of video game stuff today.
Yeah. Hobby scuffles are where things that haven't developed into a full-on drama, people can just 2,400 comments of people being like, keep your eyes on, this YouTuber, his followers are getting very angry. Hobby Drama is probably my favorite subreddit.
Yeah, Hobby Drama is a good one.
The subreddit that got me into Reddit was Total War, which is the Creative Assembly Total War games. I've been playing those since I was a little kid, and I used to read people's write-ups of their campaigns and all the cool stuff they were doing. And I wanted to be a part of the conversation. So when I was in college, I was like, I want to comment and tell that what this guy did was cool. or I want to be able to see the news of the new Total War games because Total War Rome 2 was just about to come out. So I made an account, and then from there has, joined a whole bunch of other subreddits through the years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
real quick, as we wrap
I'm
up, can I
still
talk
on
about the bad of Reddit real fast?
Sure.
oh yeah, totally.
So the most famous negative story about Reddit, I actually pulled up a post. I'm just going to be peeky over here to make sure I don't mess it up. But when the Boston bombing happened in 2013,
I remember this.
So this was Reddit's darkest day, basically. So what happened was April 15th, 2 bombs went off in Boston. The world news and news subreddits are 2 of the biggest. So world news has 35 million subscribers and news has 27.5 million subscribers. So basically what happened is a witch hunt started on Reddit of, can we find the Boston bomber? Who did this? And they discovered a guy, I won't say his name, that had gone missing in Boston on April 16th, day after the bombing. So Reddit made up a kind of a hive mind. This is the guy who did it. They started posting about it. This information got into the news. It became kind of an echo chamber to the point where on April 22nd, 7 days after the bombing, the owners and admins of Reddit had to do a blog post apologizing.
Okay, and I put that up on the screen here, your screen share. Yeah.
Screen share. Let me move the screen share over.
Okay. So definitely illustrative of the perils or pitfalls of that crowdsourcing of with joining the conversation, participating in the conversation. It has benefits, but like anything, it also has drawbacks. You really have to use it responsibly, access it responsibly. Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big deal. You said they have 30, some people have like upwards of tens of millions of followers. So a lot of influence.
World News, 35 million subscribers to World News subreddit.
Wow. Okay, well, I'm glad that we asked the experts on here today. I've learned a lot. I'm personally going to start using Reddit and look in there and see what things like that I can use for my personal and maybe even professional use. So if you're watching, let us know if you hadn't used Reddit before. Are you going to use it now? We're curious. Also, if you are attending and you are in the first year experience flight path course and you need FYE first year experience credit, go ahead and text us at 407-915-3614. It's basically texting our chat service. So text us privately your name and your student ID number. Okay, first and last name, student ID number, so we can make sure that you do get credit. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Ladeha. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If not, come into the library. I'm Nicole from the library. Introduce yourself to me and tell me how to pronounce your name correctly. Okay, it'll be a great way to get acquainted. Yes, text us again for FYE credit. And thank you again, Jeff, real quick. What's the next big thing going on at the Raider Center over here on the SLM campus or any of those campuses?
Tomorrow, we have our pickup volleyball tournament. So starting around 1:30, whoever's in the Raider Center to play volleyball, we're going to split up into teams, play a quick tournament, and give prizes. We have some prizes from some of our sponsors from athletics to give out to students. And that's our biggest investment we got coming up. And then Cameron A, the number, it's scrolling on the screen, but 407-915-3614.
Yep. All right. So again, thank you to our experts that have been here today. Jeff from the Raider Center and of course, Library Ross Martin. And thank you to everybody watching live or on the replay. Remember, every Wednesday, 4 p.m. And we're librarians. Our job is to help you. You can even text this number for library help, for research, citations. Mm-hmm. We help you make school easier. School is supposed to be challenging, but support staff like us and the Academic Success Center and the tutoring helps you out. And guess what? Going to the Raider Center and working out and releasing stress and getting stronger, that also helps the old ticker up here as well. So shout out to the Raider Center again. Thanks, Jeff, for joining us. And Awesome. Have a great day, guys. And
Whoa.
as usual, I'm trying to find the video. I can never find it right away. I need like somebody else here to help me out. And guess what? Okay, ready? A big wave and a smile.
Ready.
The video ready.
Whoa, let's
Right.
do it.
Bye, guys.